guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. So my name is Jeanette, and the reason why I cashed up and use zero-based budgeting is to save for 6 months of expenses. So in this video, we are going to be discussing everything zero-based budgeting. So I'm going to give you examples of a person who gets paid $600 every week, and we're going to break that down into zero-based budgeting and how it works. Now, before I get into this video, let me just move these items. I did add some new things to my shop and I wanted to show you guys really quickly. I'm going to try to go through it really quickly. I am doing a lot of construction in my website, so stay tuned for that. I am revamping everything. I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff just to start the new year fresh. So the first item I wanted to show you guys is this scratch off challenge, and it's called She's in Her Era. So it's just basically a scratch off and that's it. And then another thing I added to the shop is another monthly savings challenge. So this is the dashboard right here. And these are the months, and they all have 5 different amounts in each month. So this is everything for that. And these fit in one of these folders that you can put in your binder. So it fits in here, and that's the dashboard that will go in the front. Another item I added is these placeholders. So these are pink placeholders. So I wanted to show you these really quickly. And there's also a fully funded one as well. And then the last items is my cash envelopes. So I did retire a lot of the cash envelopes that I did have. And these are actually just new ones. So I wanted to show you the first one. This is a pack of 6. And you pick the category online. And if you guys want information on my website, it's in the description box. Okay, so the first collection I have here is going to be She's in Her Era collection. So these are what these look like, and this is a pack of 6. And these are matte vellum envelopes. And then another collection I have are these design ones here. So this one is heart. This one is butterfly. This one is fancy heart. And this one is, I believe, heart as well, or simple heart. So these are the 4 right there. And again, these are all cash envelopes, vellum envelopes. Matte vellum envelopes. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I have these, and these are just plain with different fonts. So I'm just going to show you them here, and the fonts are online. You get to choose the font you want, and these are in a pack of 6 as well. So we have that one there. We have that one, and then we have this simple one right here. So these are all simple with just the lettering on it with a different font. So that's all I have as far as what's new to my shop. So try to check that out. And guys, give me your opinion on my website. Like, I really want everybody's opinion. Like, do you like it? Is there anything I can change? Okay, now let's get into this video. So I have a calendar here, and we're going to fill the dates in, and I have paper here. Now, I do have available in my shop my budget planner, which you can use to do all of this because it has a calendar. And it has stuff to write all the like income bills, debt, variable expenses, sinking funds, things like that. So it's all broken down in here. And we're going to do monthly. So like I told you guys, we're going to do monthly. So here's the calendar. And then monthly. So we have here income, fixed expenses, variable expenses, debt, sinking funds, savings challenges. And there are instructions in here how to use it. And then you do the monthly breakdown at the end, and then it has instructions here, and our total always got to be 0. So every dollar has a home. Okay, so let's get started in this video. I do have some color markers. Again, we're just going to use a piece of paper. Let's say you don't have a budget planner. All you need is a calendar and some loose leaf paper, also a calculator, and different color markers just to keep everything like different color on the calendar. Okay, so let's start with our calendar. Okay, so let's start with just writing the month on the top and the year. So we're going to put it, let's do that in a different color from these colors. Okay, so let's use this color right here. So I'm just going to write January 2025, right? And that starts on a Wednesday. So let's plug in the dates. So we have one. Okay, so the example income I'm going to do is a weekly income, and it's going to be $600 a week, and the person gets paid every Wednesday. So that's the first thing we're going to write down, and you're going to write payday, and then you're going to write $600. So it's every Wednesday. So let's write it right here. Okay, so I wrote all the paydays. So this person in the month of January will get paid 5 times if they get paid weekly. Now, if you get paid bi-weekly, you just skip the dates and then write your total of how much you get paid. Okay, the next thing we're going to write down is the bills. So all the bills that this person has to pay. And we're going to do that in green. So the example rent is going to be $1,600. So I'm just going to write that right here. Then utilities, let's do it for January 6th. So I'm just going to write utilities there. And let's say the amount is $175 for utilities. Okay, the next bill is going to be subscriptions, and we're going to write that for the 13th. So subscriptions, and that's going to be $25 on the 13th. And then phone bill is going to be January 17th, and that's going to be for $125. So let's put phone. $125. And then let's say the last bill is internet. So that's going to be, let's say $70, and that's for January 28th. So internet, and that's going to be $70. Okay, so and then let's write down the debt. So let's say you have a credit card payment and it's due January 24th. Let's do. Okay, so credit card payment and it's $100. Okay, and then I believe that's it as far as bills and income. So we have everything written down in our calendar. Now, if you have any other bills, you write it here. Like I said, this is just an example of how to break down zero-based budgeting. Okay, so our calendar is filled out. Now let's get into writing stuff down. So there is a section in the budget planner that you can write down your bills. So we're just going to do it on here. Okay, so let's write down everything on our paper. So we have everything in our calendar so far. So let's write down all the incomes and the dates. All right, so we're going to start off with income, right? And then it's $600 for 5 times. So 600, 600. I'm going to try to keep everything on one page. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's write the date. So the first date is going to be January 1st. The second date is going to be January 8th. The third date is January 15th, January 22nd, and then the last payday is January 29th. Now, as far as since it's due on the 1st, you usually pay like a month before. So we're not going to concentrate on rent for January. We're going to concentrate on rent for February. So let me just write rent over here. I have February 1st on here. So let's just put rent here. And let's put $1,600. Okay, so we have to pay rent. So we got to make sure we're taking out of our paycheck to pay rent. Okay. So since we have a 5th payment in the month, which is the 29th, right? So I'm just going to circle that really quickly, right? We have a fifth payment. So let's say you put that fifth payment towards rent. So that knocks down $600 from rent for the next month, right? So we're left to pay $1,000. So let's just put a box on this, right? Let's put a box on it. And then we're going to put towards rent next to it. Okay, trust the process. Okay, so towards rent. So now we have to pay rent. We have to take out of our check every week for rent. So let's write down the bills now. So let's write down bills, right? And so we have rent, $1,600, and that is due February 1st. Then we have utilities, and that is for the amount of $25, and that is due January 6th. Then we have subscriptions, and that's going to be $25, and that's going to be for January 13th. Then we have phone bill. That's going to be $125. And this video is going to be long, guys. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to like break it down the best way I know. And then we have internet, which is the last bill. And that's for the amount of $70. And that is due January 28th, right? So, and then on the side here for rent, we know that $600 is already taken out for rent for February, right? So in each check moving forward, we have to take out money for rent, right? So we're going to do it in 4 payments. So if you get your calculator, right? So we paid the 600, right? So we have $1,000 that we have to divide into 4. So we have $1,000, right? And then we're going to divide it by 4. So $250 each week has to come out for rent. So let's put here $250 each week has to come out for rent, right? And then on the right side, I'm going to write, on the bottom. So we have our bills, we have our income, and then let's just write down our debt. So the debt is a credit card for $100 for the month, okay? And then, okay, so that's everything right there. Now let's move into our variable expenses. So basically, this is going to be the wallet. This is going to be your everyday money that you're taking out for groceries, toiletries, things like that. All right, so let's write down the variable expenses. And this is an estimate for the month, but if you stick to it, like your plan, you should be good at the end. Okay, so for variable expenses, let's put groceries, and this is for the month, right? And that's going to be $300. Toiletries, let's say for the month is $80, right? Spending for the month is going to be $80. Out to eat, $60, and travel. So let's say for gas, or if you live in New York, a Metro card, or whatever you guys use as a form of transportation, this person's travel every month is $80, right? So that makes it a total of, let's add that all up and see what we get. All right. Just trying to make sure everything's in frame. So we have 300. Why do I keep on doing that? 300 plus 80 plus 80 plus 60 plus 80. So we have a total of $600 when it comes down to our everyday spending for the month. So $600, right? But now it has to come out of each check because you have to live weekly, right? So we're going to divide all of these numbers by 4 and see what we get. So we do, let's write on the right side here, let's just put a box here, right? And then we're going to put on the top, we're going to put weekly. So this was monthly, right? And then on the right, we're going to write weekly. So how much has to come out every week from our checks in order to stick to this variable expenses plan for the month? Okay, so we have 300 divided by 4. So that is a total of $75. So $75 weekly. Right? Weekly. Then we have toiletries. Toiletries is $80. I'm just going to use the calculator. I mean, I could do this in my head, but all right, divided by 4 equals $20. So $20 weekly for toiletries. Okay, the next one is spending. That's going to be $20. Then we have out to eat, which is $60. So that's going to be a total of $15 weekly. And then travel is going to be $20 weekly, right? So we're going to add all those numbers up. So we have 75 plus 20 plus another 20 plus 15 plus 20 equals $150. So out of our check every week, we have to take out $150 for our variable expenses. Okay, now on the top here, I'm going to write down leftover money weekly. So I'm going to try to keep everything in one paper. Okay, so on the top here, we're going to put leftover, right? So let's just put a line through all of this. I'm trying to keep this as neat as possible. Okay, so on the top right, I'm going to write down leftover money. So what's left over after you pay all your bills for the week and you have your variable expenses out and everything like that. Okay, so we have leftover here, leftover money, and then I'm going to write week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. Okay, so now this is when we get into the real math of things. So we have to go back on our calendar, right? And we have to remember that we're taking out $600, right? $600 every week. I mean, $250 every week for rent. We are taking out $150 every week for variable expenses, plus whatever the bills we have due. Okay, so how can I break this down to you without using another paper? All right, so let's just look at our calendar, right? You know what? Let's use another paper. Make sure this stays in frame though. Okay, let's use another paper, right? We're going to need our calendar first. So now we're going to break down weekly. So that's monthly everything, right? But we're still not done because we have with that leftover money what we're going to do with it because every dollar needs a home. So hopefully this is in frame. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay, so this is in frame, right? So we have week 1, right? We got paid $600, right? Weekly, we have to take out $250 for rent. Then we have to take out $150 for our variable expenses, which is our everyday spending money, right? Now we have to look at what bills are due this week, right? So we get paid on the 1st, right? And everything after that, before other payday, is what we have to pay. So we have to put minus 175 for utilities, right? So that's everything that's coming out of that check. And then we'll see what we have left over. So it's only that, because rent was paid last month for January, and then we have to pay the rent for February. So we took out our rent, we took out our variable expenses, which is our everyday spending, and I believe that's it. Okay, so now let's do the math and see what we're left over with. So let's go back here so we can write down our leftover money for week 1. Okay, so we got paid $600, right? We got paid $600 minus our rent, which is $250, minus our variable expenses for the week, which is $150, minus our utility bill, which is $175. Okay, so as far as leftover money from that whole check, we have $25 left over, but we covered our groceries, toiletries, spending, out to eat, and travel. Like I said, if you keep up with this or any other thing you want to do as far as variable expenses, you'll have some type of money left over if you do the math. Now, if you don't budget this way, you wouldn't even know that you had that $25 left over for the week, and it'll get spent probably in Target or something else. So $25 is left over for week 1. So we're going to write that in week 1. Now let's go to week 2, right? So that's week 1. Let's write down week 2 here, right? We got paid $600. We have to subtract for the rent, and we have to subtract for the variable expenses. Now let's see what bills are due week 2. Okay, so we go into week 2 right here, our second paycheck for the week. As we go, we only have subscriptions for $25, right? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but hopefully you guys are getting this. So we have $25 for subscriptions. That's the only bill that's due week 2. So week 2, we look like we're going to have some money left over. So this was week 1, and we was left with $25. Okay, now let's jump into week 2. So let's do the math. 600 minus 250 for our rent, minus 150 for our variable expenses, minus $25. So we are left over with $175. Wow. And before budgeting this way, like, you just don't know where your money goes. Like $175, I probably would not even know that. So week 2, we have left over $175. Now let's go to week 3. Okay, so week 3, let's see what we have. Week 3, we have our phone bill, and that's it. So the phone bill is $125, right? So we have $600 for week 3, minus $250, minus $150, minus, let's put the dollars amounts here, minus what is due that week, our phone bill, and that's $125, right? Okay, so let's do the math on week 3 and see what we have left over. So is 600 minus 250 minus 150 minus 125. $75. So left is going to be $75. So let's write that for week 3 right here, right? Now let's go into week 4. And remember, guys, week 5, we're using that whole $600 to put towards our rent, because we don't need anything for the rest of the month. So put it towards your rent. Okay, if you want to. That's if you want to, or let's say you do things differently. But the main goal at the end is to be at zero for every dollar that comes as far as income in your house. Okay, so week 4, we have $600, right? Minus $250 for our rent, minus $150 for our variable expenses. And let's see what's due week 4. So we have our credit card payment that needs to be done. So we have minus $100 for our credit card. And what else is due? Our internet is $70. So minus $70 for our internet. Right? Okay, $70 for our internet. So now we don't need our calendar anymore. Now this is just going to be all math. So we go here. We have 600 minus the 250 minus 150 minus $100 for our credit card minus $70 for the internet. So we left over with $30 for the week, right? Now, all this money that's left over, you have 2 options. You can spend it or you can save it. So that's the 2 options when it comes down to zero-based budgeting. You can spend it or you can save it. And there's different ways you can save it. You can save for future things. So let's say this person, all right, so we don't need that paper right now. So let's see the total of what we are left over with for the whole month. All right, so we have 25 plus 175 plus 75 plus $30. So that gives us a total of $305 left over for the month. Now, with this 305, let's say your credit card is, you owe like $600. Maybe you want to put more towards your credit card with that money. Or let's say you have like sinking funds, like if you have children and things like that, or you have an emergency stash and a savings stash, right? So we're going to put sinking funds. So sinking funds are things that are not our bills, but saving for future things. Let's say you're saving for your kids' college or things like that. So in this case, right, we're going to put that this person has 2 sinking funds. And it's going to be emergency, or let's say like you're a teenager and you're saving for your first home or things like that. Like, all right, emergency and savings, right? Emergency and savings. So, and then let's say you have a couple of savings challenges too. So I'm going to put savings challenges here. So let's put savings challenges here. Right? So we have, let's say you have your 100 envelope challenge. And let's say you have a $5 Christmas challenge. And these are all available in my shop, by the way. Roll the dice. Okay. So we have 305 left over. Let's say for a 100 envelope challenge, you're going to fill in 2 slots. So let's say it's going to be 26 and 27, right? So let's say you're going to fill in 2 slots for your 100 envelope. So we have 305 left over, right? And we're going to minus that by 26 and 20. Wait, let's do that again. So we have a 305 minus 26 minus 27. All right, so we're left over with $252 after the 100 envelope challenge, right? Let's say for emergency, let's say you're going to save $120. All right, $120. So let's put 120, and then let's put 120 for our emergency. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys. Okay, so for our emergency, we're going to take out 120, 120. So we're left with 252. We're going to take out 120 minus 120. So we're left over with $12 after our emergency, right? Roll the dice challenge. Usually you'll need $6 because the dice goes up to 6, right? So let's minus that by $6. And then we have our $5 Christmas challenge, which is going to be minus $5. So what do we have? We have $1 left. So with this dollar, and when I mean every dollar needs a home, every dollar needs a home. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with that dollar. And the best thing to do is just add a dollar to our emergency funds. So add $1 to our emergency funds, right? So now let's break down this whole monthly thing that we have going on, right? Okay. What was the total in, let's do the total in bills here. So our total in bills were 1,600, wait. 1,600. Now we have to see if everything maps out to 0. Plus 25 plus 25 plus 125 plus $70. So in bills is $18.45. So let me just write that here. So the total in bills is $18.45. All right, we did the variable expenses. All right, now we're gonna get another sheet, and now we're gonna see if we got to 0. So we don't need this sheet anymore because I have everything written out there. As far as savings challenge, the total should have been 305, right? Okay, so now let's break everything down as far as math right here. Okay, so the total in income that we get is going to be $3,000, right? So our total for income is going to be $3,000, right? So we're going to write on here income, right? We're going to write our bills. So the income total is going to be 13. What did I say? 3,000, sorry. Our income is 3,000. Sorry about that. Our bills is, the total is 1845, 3,000, 1845. Our debt is going to be $100, right? Our variable expenses is a total of $600 for the month, right? And then we have our leftover money, which is our sinking funds. So let's write sinking and savings challenges is going to be a total of 305. So let's do the math and see if it comes down to 0. Let me just make sure I wrote down everything. So we have income, we have bills, we have debt, we have variable expenses, and then we had our leftover money. Okay, so let's break this down, right? Okay, so I saw where I did a mistake. Utilities, I put 25 here, but it's supposed to be 175, but we did do it right in the video. Okay, so it's 1,600 plus 175 plus 25 plus 125 plus $70 is $19.95. Okay, so for our bills, sorry about that, is $19.95. Okay, now let's do the breakdown and see if we get to 0. Okay, so we have $3,000 for our income minus the bills is $19.95 minus $100 minus $600, which is our variable expenses, and then our leftover money was $305. We have a total of $0. So that's what zero-based budgeting is. Make sure every dollar has a home. And hopefully, guys, this was helpful for you guys. Again, sorry for the long video, but hopefully this helps somebody out there how to break this down. Again, my budget planner is available, and it's all based on zero-based budgeting, and there is instructions in there. But you can always refer to this video to see how it goes. Let's say you don't have the budget planner, you can still do this with a regular calendar and a piece of paper. And that's how you break down zero-based budgeting. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.